Democratic Senator Jack Reed from Rhode Island is joining us now. He's the ranking member on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, thank you so much for being here. First, I want to talk to you about what we're hearing from President Trump now. And I'll get to that in just a sec. But Americans are stuck in the middle of this in the Middle East. For many of them, they cannot fly out, but the Trump administration is telling them to get out of almost the entire Middle East. So what do you advise Americans to do who are stuck in the region without being able to fly out?
Well, the first thing they should do is contact the American Embassy, because the embassy will have specific instructions as where they may protect themselves while they're waiting to get out. And also, I would presume and hope that the American embassies are organizing as best they can transportation to take American citizens out of the country, out of the scope of danger. So the first step is call the embassy and then use whatever commercial activities you can to try to secure a flight out. But the embassies are the ones that are designed to deal with these types of crises.
Yeah, the embassy's closing in a couple of places, so it is too late for those people in places like Kuwait and Saudi. I do want to ask you about what the president has been saying in the last few hours. Overnight, he posted this about the war with Iran. He says, the United States munitions stockpiles have never been higher or better. We have virtually unlimited supply of these weapons. Wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies. Does that language signal to you that the president is preparing Americans for one of the so-called forever wars that he has railed against?
Well, I think it first suggests to me that we do not have unlimited arms. The president is trying to put a good face on a situation in which, not immediately, but certainly within a weeks or months, we're going to run into the crisis of having sufficient arms. That is why, over the last year, the Department of Defense has been investing significantly on increased arms production, because even without this conflict, they anticipated that we would not have adequate number of arms for a major conflict. And I think the president is simply trying to dispense with a real problem, which is that at some point we have to start rationing our arms. And again, the question is when. Is it this week? Is it 5 weeks? Is it 5 months? The whole question of unlimited termless war is something that we face. I don't know of any war in the Middle East that has been short and sweet, other than the 1991 attack against Iraq, but that was limited by President George Herbert Walker Bush himself. They understood they didn't want to go all the way to Baghdad, a mistake that was made by his son, George W. Bush.
Yeah, there was a very clear directive there just to get Iraq out of Kuwait. Now the objective is not as clear. There are many different things that this administration is saying that its objective is here. The president just is heading to Congress today to address this war in front of the Congress. He's started this war without congressional approval. He's promising a major attack today. Has Congress simply lost its power to have any say in a conflict that is clearly going now? He's called it a war, and so has his Secretary of Defense.
Congress has not exerted its power as it must under the Constitution of the United States. It is Congress that can authorize war. The president disregarded this constitutional imperative. Now we have to step up. There will be a vote this week, perhaps tomorrow morning, so that Congress can retain its constitutional obligation and responsibility to authorize a war. This is consistent with most everything the president has done.
Will you vote to authorize this war?
Constraints. I will vote to invoke the War Powers Act, which would give the president 30 days to terminate the operation, except for activities defending the state of Israel, which is critical to our reliance and alliance on Israel.
Senator Jack Reed, I do appreciate your time this morning for coming in. John?